The transmission crackled across the void, reaching every corner of the Galactic Council's domain. Static-laced and desperate, a human voice cut through the cosmic silence. To the forces of the Hegemony Empire, you have sealed your fate. The message died in white noise, leaving only the hum of alien machinery in the vast council chamber. High Counselor Vexith's mandibles clicked in amusement as tentacled advisors writhed with laughter around the crystalline conference table. On the massive holographic display, Earth hung like a pale blue marble, defenseless and primitive. Look at their pathetic orbital stations, Vext hissed, zooming in on humanity's scattered satellites and crude space elevators. Metal scraps held together by desperation. The council erupted in synchronized chittering. These mammals with their chemical rockets and electromagnetic pulse weapons were threatening an empire that had consumed galaxies. Elder strategist Krindar, his ancient carapace, scarred from 1,000 campaigns, shifted uneasily in the shadows. My lord, we've lost contact with 3 scouting fleets near the Sol system over the past cycle. But his warning was drowned in mockery. Vexith's eyes blazed with predatory hunger. Accidents. Old one. Perhaps they were destroyed by floating debris. Humans can barely reach their own moon, deep beneath Earth's scarred surface. In bunkers carved from bedrock and shielded with meters of ablative armor, humanity's last hope gathered in the war room. General Marcus Kane stood before a holographic display, showing the approaching alien armada 10,000 ships, each the size of a city, bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Around him, engineers wiped sweat from their brows as they fine-tuned calculations on quantum computers, while battle-hardened soldiers checked their weapons with grim determination. All orbital platforms are in position, reported Dr. Elena Vasquez, her fingers dancing across haptic controls. The Dyson swarm is cloaked and ready. They have no idea we've been building this for 30 years. Kane's weathered face remained stoic, but fire burned in his eyes. Outside, families huddled in shelters, children clutching toys while parents whispered prayers. But in this bunker, surrounded by the greatest minds humanity had ever produced, there was no fear, only cold, calculated fury. Send the transmission, Kane ordered, his voice echoing through the chamber. Near Jupiter's roiling storms, the human retribution fleet hung in formation like a pack of scarred wolves. Their ships bore the scars of previous battles, hull breaches, welded shut. Armor plating scorched black. Weapon arrays jury-rigged from salvaged alien technology. Commander Sarah Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, watching her tactical display count down the minutes to contact. Her fleet numbered only 300 ships against an armada of thousands, but each vessel pulsed with experimental technology and crews who had nothing left to lose. Remember, she broadcast to her captains, we're not trying to win this fight, we're buying Earth time to show these bastards what humans really are. On her screens, the alien dreadnoughts began their final approach, their bioluminescent hulls pulsing with malevolent energy. The lead ship alone could vaporize her entire fleet, but Rodriguez smiled coldly. They expected prey. They were about to meet predators. The Hegemony's invasion fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, their massive dreadnoughts casting shadows across Earth's moon. Each ship was a masterwork of destruction, organic hulls that self-repaired, plasma cannons that could melt continents, and shield generators powered by miniature black holes. Admiral Vexra surveyed the primitive solar system from his flagship's command throne, satisfaction oozing from every pore of his amphibious form. Deploy the surrender broadcast, he gurgled to his communications officer. Let these creatures know their fate. The message transmitted across all frequencies. Dextra S. Image filling screens worldwide. Humans of Earth, your resistance ends now. Kneel before the Hegemony, and your deaths will be swift. Continue your defiance, and we will make your extinction a lesson for the galaxy. But instead of panicked surrender, a single response came from Earth. Kane's face appeared on their screens, calm and resolute. You have sealed your fate, he said simply. Then cut the transmission. Dexra's gill slits flared with rage. Begin the bombardment. Turn their world to glass. Earth's children pressed against bunker walls as the sky above erupted in false lightning. Alien energy weapons streaked down like falling stars, carving molten trenches across continents. But as the dreadnoughts moved into optimal firing position, something impossible happened there. Sensors screamed warnings as space itself seemed to bend around them. Dr. Vasquez smiled in her bunker as hidden satellites throughout the solar system activated. Dyson swarm online, she announced calmly. Thousands of cloaked collectors, no larger than cars, but connected by quantum entanglement, had been positioned over decades around the sun itself. Now they focused Sol's fury into concentrated beams that could cut through any known material. The first wave of alien ships simply ceased to exist, vaporized in pillars of stellar fire that reached across space. Emergency alerts flooded the Hegemony fleet as impossible energy readings overloaded their instruments. Evasive maneuvers. Dextra shrieked, but the beams tracked them effortlessly, carving through holes like plasma through paper. Chaos consumed the alien fleet as ships desperately scattered, their perfect formations dissolving into panic. Hegemony captains screamed contradictory orders, while their crews struggled to understand how primitive humans had harnessed the power of a star. But Earth's trap was only beginning to close. From beyond Neptune's orbit, what appeared to be drifting asteroids suddenly blazed to life with engine fire. The second human fleet had waited in silence for months, their ships disguised with rock and ice, crews in hibernation to avoid detection. Now Admiral Chen commanded 200 vessels that struck like ghosts, quantum torpedoes, and experimental railguns, tearing through alien formations from behind. The Hegemony found themselves caught between Earth's solar weapon and humanity's hidden fleet. Their technological superiority meaningless against decades of careful planning. Rodriguez's Retribution fleet charged straight into the confusion, her crews whooping with savage joy as they rammed burning alien cruisers and detonated antimatter charges at point-blank range. The bridge of the Hegemony flagship became a nightmare of alarms and screaming officers. Vexra watched in horror as fleet status reports flooded his screen's entire squadrons eliminated. Capital ships crippled, his invasion force hemorrhaging ships faster than he could count. But the true terror came from the tactical reports. Human vessels were emerging from asteroid belts across the system, from hidden bases on distant moons, from camouflaged stations orbiting gas giants. Humanity had turned their entire solar system into a weapon. "How is this possible?" he gasped, his gills fluttering with shock. "Our intelligence said they were barely capable of interplanetary flight." His communications officer's voice cracked with fear. "Sir, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human attack fleets are hitting our colonies in 16 systems simultaneously. They've been preparing for years, deep in Lunar's ancient tunnels. Machinery that had waited 30 years for this moment finally awakened." The moon itself began to split along hidden fault lines as massive quantum destabilizers emerged from within. Humanity had hollowed out their closest celestial neighbor, filling it with technology reverse-engineered from captured alien vessels and powered by Earth's industrial might. Dr. Vasquez watched with grim satisfaction as gravitational waves pulsed outward, tearing apart the fundamental forces that held the Hegemony ships together. Space-time itself rippled around the alien fleet, crushing holes like paper and turning their powerful reactors into miniature supernovas. "Lunar base to Earth command," she reported calmly. "The moon's payload is deployed. Enemy fleet is taking catastrophic damage." Admiral Vexra's desperate retreat order came too late. As surviving alien ships tried to flee toward hyperspace jump points, they found their escape routes blocked by human minefields and automated defense platforms. Humanity's hidden fleet emerged from every shadow, every asteroid field, every concealed position they had prepared over 3 decades of secret warfare. The hunters had become the hunted, and humans showed no mercy to those who had come to exterminate their species. Rodriguez's voice echoed across all frequencies. "For every human child you would have murdered, for every world you've enslaved, this is our answer." Her ship rammed a fleeing dreadnought, both vessels exploding in a brilliant fireball that could be seen from Earth's surface. Across the galaxy, the Hegemony Empire convulsed as rebellion erupted on 1,000 worlds. Species that had cowered under alien tyranny for millennia suddenly found their courage, inspired by impossible news from a distant yellow star. Earth's transmission, "You have sealed your fate," became a rallying cry for the oppressed. While Hegemony forces found themselves fighting not just humans, but every race that had ever dreamed of freedom. On the council world of Nexus Prime, High Counselor Vexed 8 screamed orders at fleeing subordinates as his crystalline palace cracked around him. Ancient data archives, sealed for eons, revealed the truth his ancestors had hidden. Warnings about a blue world where only apex predators survived, where evolution had crafted perfect killers who disguised themselves as social creatures. The few surviving alien ships that limped away from Sol carried more than damage, they carried terror. Stories spread through Hegemony space of humans who fought like demons, who turned their entire star system into a trap, who showed the same ruthless creativity in war that they had once applied to art and exploration. Former prisoners of war whispered that humans didn't just defeat their enemies, they studied them, learned from them, then used that knowledge to destroy them more efficiently. The galaxy's children began to learn new bedtime stories, where monsters from Terra stalked the dark between stars, patient and unforgiving. In the aftermath, as Earth's cities burned but her people stood unbowed, the scattered remnants of humanity's fleet began their next phase. No longer would they wait for others to bring war to their doorstep. Admiral Chen's voice carried across the void to every inhabited world. To those who seek peace, we extend our hand in friendship. To those who would prey upon the innocent, who would enslave the free, who would threaten our children, you have sealed your fate. The age of human expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The final alien transmission from the Sol system was barely coherent, a broken signal from a crippled scout ship. They are not prey animals. Earth breeds apex predators. Do not engage. Do not approach. They forgive nothing and forget less. But by then, it was too late. Humanity had tasted victory against impossible odds, and the predators of Terra were already spreading among the stars, carrying with them the promise that no world would ever again face extinction alone. In the depths of space, Earth's final transmission continued to echo. You have sealed your fate.